Yeah. Okay, so listen, so I want to talk about affirmative action today. Affirmative action. We should probably, do you guys even know what it means? You know what it is? Do you have any idea? Seriously? God, we are the land of the lost, man. So you're the four perfect people to be sitting up here, right? So the idea, I just want you to know, the people out there that really feel disdain for you all, you as coddled college students who have really easy lives and, the whole 9 yards. They assume that you're all really well versed about affirmative action and you all have opinions about it and yeah. What is an affirmative action? This is the point. This is what they're asking, and they're up here. They're going to talk about it today, and they don't even know. How many of you, if I gave you a microphone, could come down? I'm not going to ask you to do it, so feel free to raise your hand. Could come down to the front and could spend 60 seconds telling the rest of the class what affirmative action is. Raise your hands really high. Mm-hmm. So for the home viewing audience, I see about 15 hands. All right, man. 16. All right. So listen. So it's just so funny, man. Honestly, that. So when we really started taking civil rights and women's rights both seriously, really kind of taking an assessment, and y'all, you really gotta, I don't know, because y'all don't, you really gotta take yourself back to when I was born in 1960, so you go back in the 60s and 70s and early 70s. There was just there were different times in a real serious reckoning about inequality and opportunity. And so we were trying to figure out, once we passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964, where we really started to address some of these serious issues. And it takes a while, and so the question became, all right, so what do we do, right? How do we have so much historical inequality. What do we do? Okay? And because it's not enough just to say, hey, we're going to rectify this now and we're going to remove this barrier. So for example, if I'm, Drew, can you do me a favor? Just walk. Can you just walk up there? So if ostensibly he and I should be equal, right? And we should be, what you want to do is you two people who are born and you want to start on the starting line in the same place. And you have this idea that if he's born and I'm born and we live in similar neighborhoods and whatever it is, then we have a similar opportunity, right? So whatever's inside his head, whatever's inside my head, the willpower he has, the willpower I have, the desire he has to study and work hard, the desire I have to study and work hard, the opportunities that he has are essentially the same as the opportunities I have. So this is one of these things. We assume that, and then we're equal. And where we end up on the race to growth, whatever, to the ladder of success, that if one of us gets higher than the other one, then we're okay. But let's say that I don't have the opportunities, but for whatever reason he does, because of his sex or because of his race or because of his culture. And so, bro, just walk up to the top of those steps, right? So let's say, so I'm stuck here and he's moving ahead. All right. All right, hang on right there. So listen, so he and all the people that came before him are there. We're like trying to climb up the ladder. And then one day you come along and we look at this as a society and we say, we need to have a reckoning with this. Like that, his people had such an advantage over my people. And then we got to deal with, what are we going to do? So we remove the barriers for me, for my people, right? We say like, so for women and men. So we remove the barriers for women. We say, you can no longer discriminate against women in this way, right? So here, maybe you stand up really. It'll be better so thanks, man. So here, we can no longer discriminate against women. Well, how about in black people? So here we go, right? Women and black people. So, but here's the thing. So we removed the barriers for her. Okay? We say that's what we do. That's kind of what 1964 civil rights movement, all the laws that started to come in place for women. And then we were like, okay, we're going to remove the barriers. But what do you see? What do you see, bro? Like, so we removed the barriers. So now they're on an equal playing field. Is it an equal playing field? I guess not. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Well, look where he is. And then look where she is, because he's not moving. The equal playing field would be if we send this guy back down there, right? But, yeah, I mean, it's a trick question, really, dude. But it's not. But he's staying here. And now she's down here. So we're like, okay. So we removed the barriers for women to compete with men, but men are already there. Or we removed the barriers for black and brown people, but white people are already there. Got it? So now what do? Do you just say like, all right, whatever. All right, that's cool. So now just go ahead and compete, but you're here. You see what I mean? So now if she starts climbing the ladder of upward mobility, so as she starts climbing, go ahead, start walking up, and you walk up to, he's walking up too. He continues to elevate himself. She's elevating, but the distance between them is the same. Like we say, yeah, but you have the same opportunities now. I know I have the same opportunities, but like I don't have the same opportunities because he's still way up here. So then the question is, what do we do with that? Like, what do we do now, right? Like, what's the fair thing to do? What do we do with her? What would be the fair thing, really? Think about this. What would be fair to do for her? Just say like, but if we do something for her, then here's the problem. It's not fair for him. Like, he didn't determine the laws. Like, he didn't decide, like when I was born, I'm not responsible for what all the white people did before me or all the men did before me. I'm just me. I'm walking in this world competing. Bro, so you're not responsible, right? So we can't ask him, dude, sorry, man, but we got to like take one from you and go down to give it to her. Well, that wouldn't be fair to him, right? But at the same time, let's be clear, it's not fair for her, y'all following this, right? It's not fair for her to say like, okay, you're equal now, let's go, because she's not equal. Got it? Like, she might be equal in this moment, but he's like, come on, man. Like, it's not the same. So now we got to figure out what to do. All right. Thanks, man. Thanks. You can have a seat. Bro, you can have a seat, man. Thanks, dog. So you got to figure out what to do. Okay? What do you do? So we came up with these programs, and we call them affirmative action programs. Okay? And what we said was, well, we're going to take some action in the affirmative. We're going to do something for people here, particularly for women and black and brown people. We got to do something because you got to make up for the lost ground. It's only fair, right? At some level. Are you following? Bro, are you following that? Does that make sense? It's about fairness. But then the problem is it's not fair to those people. So it's like, But we devised these programs called affirmative action in some way, okay? To say, like, we're going to do some action in the affirmative. We're going to do, like, job training programs, or we're going to give you certain preferences if we're hiring, or if we're admitting people to the elite universities. We're going to give some people a little extra preference, right? Maybe we'll add some points. Maybe when you take the entry to get into, they run a calculation to get into a place like Penn State. We're going to add a few points on to the scores of people down here in order to try to make up for the lost ground somehow. And by the way, women, every woman in this class has at some level benefited from affirmative action. So, right? So anyway, these are the programs. So these have, there are many different ones, okay? But the Supreme Court they recently decided they're going to take on couple affirmative action cases that some groups have said are unconstitutional because it's unfair to give any special privilege or benefit of any sort of people who have historically been the recipients of discrimination, okay? Who've historically been the recipients of discrimination, right? Their people have been discriminated against. So if we try any way to rectify the discrimination that they experience by giving them some kind of preference, like something, some benefit that other people don't have, right? And so then we got to question that. So there are groups who have challenged that in the courts and saying that's just unconstitutional. And we can't do that. And so now we got to figure out what we're going to do. Okay? And so the Supreme Court is going to rule on this. And I thought, okay, let's talk about this in class. All right? So, can you put up the next slide? All right, so there are two issues that we're going to talk about. And one, the argument for affirmative action is diversity is good for everybody. So for the people who are left behind down here, part of being left behind is being segregated and being cut off from other groups, okay? But diversity is good. Everybody benefits from diversity. And so therefore, we need to do what we need to do with groups down. Question on. Can you tell us how you benefit from having like an educational or community or workplace diversity? How do you benefit? What's the value of diversity? Because affirmative action programs are based on two things. One is that diversity is good, and the other is that rebalancing historical inequality is good. How do you benefit from workplace diversity? Or educational diversity, or community diversity. There's no right answer for that. I just want to know, what do you think? What are you thinking? Anybody? Hey, wait, first off, introduce yourselves. Why don't we start down here? If they're turned on, I turn them on.
So my name is Hayon. I usually go by Olivia. And I'm a psych major.
A psych major, okay.
My name is Natalia. I'm a senior, and I'm a global international studies major.
Okay.
My name is Samal, and I am a public relations major.
Public relations. All right.
My name is Derek, and I am a sophomore supply chain management major.
All right, man. So one of you throw out the first answer to this question. What do you think? Hey, you want to give it a shot?
Yes. Okay. So for me, like the area that I grew up in was like either like predominantly either white or very like Mexican like school. So in a sense, there was like some like diversity, but not really, because if it's like mostly consisted of like two different ethnicity that was like more dominated compared to like having like other different region. And I was like one of the very few like one or two Asians within like that school. And so if there was like more diversity, then it would like there would be like some kind of like inclusion within that it's like in my case like in a school like community, if that makes sense. And I don't know, and I feel like being able to meet like different kinds of people, like different grades, background, like would give me that more insight to like people's like background, people's beliefs, so that way like I can have that better sense of understanding like there's like differences instead of just like one or two consistent thing. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Natalia, how would that benefit her? Like, how would that benefit her if she knew that? So she just said, yeah, I'd have more of an understanding. There are different types of people and so on. Okay, but how's that going to benefit her? Or how would that benefit you?
Okay. I'm going to answer this my way. So I think knowing our like ethnicities would kind of like help. I'm half Spanish, half Palestinian. So you don't really see Palestinians anywhere because they're just like, they're the ones that are at the bottom down here while everybody got to go up. So being in like I benefit from educational, community, and workplace diversity because especially here in college, there are a couple of Palestinians too. And even though a lot of people here from different groups kind of like group together, I kind of found my people because I also went to an all-white high school in America, and I didn't fit at all. They didn't make me feel like I fit either. So I think diversity in all these places kind of helps because you feel like you belong.
Okay, so diversity allows people to feel a sense of belonging by finding people who are like them.
Yes.
Okay, something else. Samal, Derek, like what else?
I mean, it's kind of tough to like say. I went to high school where it was like mainly a white high school, and it is like, I guess it's good to have it for that sense, yeah.
But think about just you. How would you benefit? How would you benefit from having gone to a more diverse high school or being in a really diverse school now or workplace or whatever the case is? Like, how would you personally benefit?
So that's tough. It's like tough for me to think about an answer for that. I mean,
by the way, I'm going to take you off the hook here for a second, and I'm going to have you answer. This is the question that nobody ever asks. We assume a benefit, but like we don't really ask it. We don't really go deep beneath the surface and keep asking. So yeah, go ahead, man. How would you benefit?
I mean, the way I'm thinking about it is if I'm only seeing like one race my whole life, and that's all I'm like hanging out with, who I'm doing all my work with, I feel like I'll get really used to that, like in only that specific race.
Yeah.
But if now coming to college, say, I'm meeting all these different types of races, and I'm becoming close with all these different kinds of people, it's almost like a change for me in that, like I wouldn't be used to seeing all like people from coming all over the world. But,
okay, and therefore you benefit because.
I mean, I guess it just opens me up to like different experiences, I guess.
And that benefits you because.
I honestly don't know. Like it.
Well, how about it benefits society because when you're more open, then we all benefit because.
Like it allows other people to see who I really am. Like.
Okay, Samal, how about you? How about you?
Okay, so I agree with what he was saying, but the way I see it is, I'm gonna start with myself. So I grew up in Philly, and Philly's predominantly black, so growing up, middle school, high school, elementary school, it was all just mainly black people. The first time I'm really seeing diversity was coming to college, and I think that the way I was able to benefit with that is to be able to see different cultures, and not even just cultures itself, but also how different people were raised. And I feel like that also helps me learn about other people. And when I'm like, let's say for like a group project, for example, I would have one way of thinking, and that's because of the way how I was raised. Another person would have a way of thinking because of how they was raised. So when it's time to work together, it's like I'll see their insight on things, and I feel like that is beneficial.
It's beneficial because
Is able to let me see other people's point of view.
yeah. So what I want to say here is there's this assumption that diversity is good because it opens us up, right? But it's an assumption, and nobody ever really responds to the assumption in that way, right? Let me go. Can you go to the next slide? So how do people with lesser means benefit? No, go back. How do people with lesser means benefit from diversity? Meaning, like, not the person at the top, right? How do people at the bottom benefit? So we say, hey, this greater diversity is really good. So it's good for everybody, but it's especially good for people with less power and lesser means, right? So how is that? Tell us, what do you think? What do you think they're thinking? Like, what do you think? Anybody?
Okay, I don't know how it would be beneficial to lesser means, but I think I like to add to what they both said. I think it is beneficial because you learn to accept, respect, and understand other people's cultures, and kind of like have an open mind. And instead of just like being used to one color, one ethnicity being around you, like he said, you're kind of getting used to everybody and learning to respect everybody.
Okay, so that sounds like what you would say for people with greater power and privilege and opportunity. What would you say for people with less power, privilege, and opportunity? Why is diversity good for them? Do you have a response? That's a cool response. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, because in the beginning I didn't know what you meant by lesser means until like you explained it. And okay, so first off, I want to say it's kind of hard because there's so many things you can say about like for the people that have like greater means.
Yeah.
But people for the lesser means, if they had like benefited from like some kind of diversity, it would help them feel like they're not alone.
Okay.
And if it helps them to not feel alone, so I feel like there could be more inclusion rather than exclusion.
Okay. All right. So meaning that help them feel not alone. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I like that. Somebody else.
So yeah, when we're talking about, lesser means, when involving educational, community, and workplace diversity, I feel like if anyone with lesser means is coming to a school like this, and they have all of that here, that will almost help them build up to that point where, I guess, the non-lesser means people.
So it helps them to know, it might help people with down at the bottom to be able to interact with people at the top.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just get to the top, right? You got to be able to engage people, right? Samel, do you have anything to add to that? Like, you gotta work your way up there.
Yeah, I think it's like for people with lesser means, I think of like networking.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say low-income people and that get the opportunity to go to college and somehow, get into college and stuff. So, if they weren't in college, they probably wouldn't be open to the resources, opportunity, and meeting people who are of higher income, grew up more wealthy. And because they're in college and they get to meet these people, those people that they meet can help them get to where they need to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, listen, for example, hey, bro. Here at Penn State, you may just not be tuned into it, but we have a lot of programs at Penn State that are geared toward exactly what Samal just said. It's like people who don't have easy networks. Like there's some of you who before you even started college, you knew where you were going to do your 2 or 3 internships. Because your parents or your uncle or your grandparents or your neighbor or somebody has already like laid it out for you. Like you know it. You know what you're going to do. It's taken care of. But there are other people in here who have no idea. They don't even know where to start. And they don't even really understand. They go to the advisor, and the advisor says, well, go over to the career fair. And they go to the career fair, and the career fair officer says, well, what do you feel like doing in life? And they're like, I don't know. And, you know, it was like me when I saw my high school guidance counselor the one time in probably like April when I was graduating high school. And I went down for the mandatory meeting. And the guy says, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, stand up. Look out the window. What do you see? And I said, I don't know. Nothing. And he said, the world is out there. You can do anything you want in the world. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, what? In my mind, I didn't say that to him, but in my mind, I'm just like, I had no idea. I had no connections. I had no idea. I had nothing. And so we at Penn State, we have all these programs set up for people who don't have any network opportunities and connections. And so we do that. And this is like an affirmative action program here at Penn State, where we're not investing resources into those of you who are rich. So they go, oh, why don't we help you network even better? Oh, you're going to do your internship at Merrill Lynch because your uncle is a senior management advisor there? Oh, well, we have this program at Penn State that will get you into the office of the CEO of Merrill Lynch. Like, we don't do that. But what we do is we take people with lesser means and we're like, hey, we're going to like hook you up and get you started here. That's affirmative action. This is the kind of thing we're talking about here, okay? So now, we're going to now go to the next level here, okay? Let's do this. Those are great answers, by the way. Those are answers. Nobody asks those questions, so nobody ever answers them. But we're gonna do something else. So if you could go to the next slide, man. Hey, dude.
Yeah, I have a question.
Question, man.
What is your opinion on scholars versus practitioners?
Scholars versus. What's my opinion on scholars versus practitioners, dude?
I feel like this university is filled with scholars, and they're teaching students basically how to just read a textbook in a sense.
Dude, they're not even teaching you that. They're teaching you how to sit still. They're teaching you the same damn thing they taught you in kindergarten.
Correct.
When you go into kindergarten, they ring a bell and they say, sit in a circle. And then they ring a bell again and they say, okay, sit around the piano. And the teacher plays a note on the piano and you sing a song. And then they ring the bell again and they say, okay, now it's playtime. And they ring the bell again and now it's nap time. And they ring the bell again and it's snack time. You're like a bunch of effing rats. And they're teaching you how to be rats. It's like boot camp for the military. This is like what it is. And now you're still rats because you go into class and I sit here behind this thing and I put PowerPoint slides up and you get your notes out and your pens and you write down what I have on that. And then that's what you do. And then you go memorize it. You kick it back on an exam. And then you go out at night and you get trashed because life is meaningless and boring. And why wouldn't you get trashed? And in between getting trashed, you do a few bong hits because that's your only opportunity to expand your mind. And if you're lucky, your friend has mushrooms and then you really grow. But otherwise, that's it. So there's none of that. It's the same damn thing. So you started it in kindergarten and we're still doing it. And that's why I don't do that. But we're going to do something else. I have an answer for that.
Do you think that there's an issue within the education system with like scholars and
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there's a complete issue. Like, most of this is completely unnecessary to everything you're going to do in life. You don't need any of it. Unless, even if you're in, what are you in, supply chain? Most of what you're going to, even in supply chain, 99% of what you're going to learn in supply chain, you're going to learn out into the world. But you won't get that job unless you have supply chain on your degree. And so, yeah, this is what we do. It's unnecessary. It's meaningless, and you spend a lot of money for it. So no wonder you get drunk every weekend night, because you got to bury the despair of throwing all your money away into alcohol. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something really important. Fuck, I could go on a rant, but whatever.
Hi, I have a quick question. So
Yeah.
you said that Penn State has a lot of programs that are similar to the affirmative actions.
Yeah, like different things. No, I was just pointing out one particular set of programs that we would set up for people with, say, like lesser means, you know what I mean? That we say, hey, we're going to do this.
But
Yeah.
a lot of scholarships or opportunities that are offered by Penn State usually has like requirements and eligibilities.
Exactly.
But
man.
so the thing is that even though you said that there are a lot of programs that offer the affirmative actions provided by Penn State, some of the scholarships or even opportunities only require people who have like above 3.6.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who
Yeah.
are in lesser means who have to put themselves in the job, like in the workforce
Yeah.
after the college life. So they probably don't have enough time or like.
Exactly.
So do you really think that it's fairness that the college is offering?
That's what we do, man. This is the thing. So what we do is we decide, hey, we got to have cutoffs. The best and the smartest of you have higher GPAs, which is complete nonsense and lunacy, but nonetheless, we got to do that. And then what we do is we have some other programs that aren't about money, but it's about other things. And then we're like, okay, we'll do these other programs for people who may not have those GPAs and stuff. Yeah, no, I don't think it's fair.
Also, I have another question.
right, go
So
ahead.
don't you think like also majors or the college, like liberal arts college doesn't
Yeah.
have enough funds as much as the Smale College of Business? I mean, I'm not saying that they
No, we
don't
got a-
offer
yeah,
funds,
yeah,
but in the job search or workforce-wise,
Yeah.
people who are in lesser means can't really take advantage of or like
No, because
can't
it's
take
hard.
risk of joining in,
Dude, exactly.
Yeah, so do
Exactly.
you really think that
No, exactly.
Yeah,
Which is
so-
why you have to have certain kinds of, as much as you can at a place like Penn State, let's say, or workplaces or whatever. You got to have certain programs in place to kind of, you're always looking out for people who maybe have not had the same opportunity. The problem is you don't know who they are. So you got to find some way to know who they are. And that becomes really difficult. Yeah, no, I think it's hard. It's all, I don't know what, I get paid to rant. That's all I do. So, all right, listen, man, we're going to do something else. Watch. You ready? So we're going to do this. Can you push the chairs back? No. See this quote up here? That's a quote from somebody. All right.
How about-
You guys stand up. Stand up around this. All right. Life is like a game of King of the Mountain. You know who said that?
What the
Bro, you know who said that? I said that. That's my quote. All right. You ready? So, do you that's the thing you do when you teach a class. You can just put a quote up and be like, it sounds efficient. When I put the quotation marks around it, it sounds really smart, doesn't it? It's just like some random idea I had the other day. I don't know. So you ready? So do you know what King of the Mountain? Do you know what King of the Mountain is? Can you like give him a microphone? Can you say it?
explain it, please.
So I think it's like everyone's like competing for like the top spot kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
like you're trying to like everyone wants to be number one pretty much.
So
Like,
we used to play this as kids. You would get to the bottom of a hill.
King of the hill pretty much.
King of the
right?
hill.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's-
it's King of the Hill.
King of the,
Yeah,
King of
you
the
know,
court.
right? Yeah, and so you climb up the hill. And then there's a person at the top, and they got to just keep kicking you down the hill, and you got to dislodge that person, and then you want to be on top of the hill, and then everybody else goes back down, and they come up and they try to dislodge you. It's a stupid game that people play, but it's fun for some reason. Okay, so here's what happens. Okay, here we'll put the microphones over here for a second. All right, you ready? You hold on to that one. You can just turn it off. So here's what we're gonna do a proverbial king of the mountains. So follow me around this mountain, right? And we're gonna go around. It's like musical chairs. Everyone's played musical chairs, right? So we want one of us to get on top of this mountain here. So at some point we're gonna ring a bell, and we got to scramble to the top. And then the one that gets on the top is going to be the winner. Okay, got it? So you see how this is like the game of life. And we're going to figure this out. All right, so you're always, now here's the thing. Who's going to have the advantage here? Who do you think's going to have the advantage? Look around. It could be someone who's smaller because they might be faster to get up. It could be Derek or I because we're bigger. It could be Derek because he's younger. It could be me because I'm older and I'm smarter. I've done this before. I have more experience. It could be Hayoon because, she's really calculating what it is. Like, who knows what it is? But there's going to be some kind of advantage. But it's just us. And whoever has the advantage, it's just going to be from us. But check this out, right? What if this is here? And okay, whoever's next to that is going to have the advantage. So now, some of us may not be even seeing that thing there. And we may not even be noticing it. But some of us might be saying like, oh shit, that's an advantage for us. I got to make sure I'm near that when the bell rings. So I'm going to slow down when we get to it, but okay, I can't. But others of us, we're not very smart. And we're just not even paying attention, okay? But some of us might be like, oh, okay, I got that. That's really special. Some of us might find a way to pull it along with us. There are any numbers of things you can do. But the point is, we're going to get at the top of the mountain when the bell rings, okay? And then the bell rings, let's say, and so I'm just going to jump up because I'm going to do the next thing. The bell rings and I win, and I get up on top, okay? Now, I either got here because I'm smart, because I saw that, or something happened and I used it to my advantage, or I just got up here because it was luck. I just happened to, when that bell rang, I happened to be right next to this thing. I got up and here I am. And so I can now I'm here and I got to decide why I'm here. So I'm going to decide I'm here because I'm smart. I'm never going to decide that I got here because I got lucky. It's going to be because I'm smart and I'm stronger and I'm more able and I deserve to be here. That's the thing. I deserve to be up here. But here's the point about King of the Mountain or King of the Hill. So you all, right, I have the advantage now. Right? You ever play you play King of the Hill, right? So the first one up has the advantage always because I can push you off. I can use my feet. I can use my arms, I can use whatever, but it's much harder to dislodge somebody than it is for the person who's on top to push the other people away who's trying to dislodge him or her. Got it? So the first one up has that benefit. And then now I'm up here and I'm at the top, I can now make rules for you all. So I can be like, you know what, honestly, I got to say, I think this guy's my biggest competitor. So you have to move back 3 feet. And now I'm making the rules because I got on top. For whatever reason, whatever thing got me here, I'm now on top. So I'm going to make the rules. And so okay, so you 3, okay, you're okay. You can in fact, you know what? You can come up here with me if you want, but you two have to back off a little bit. But you're part of my people. So yeah, I'm going to bring you up here even, because, or let you be close. And we're going to connect. However it is, I make the rules. Because that's the nature. That's how this stuff works, okay? Life is in many ways like King of the Mountain or King of the Hill. Okay? So we see how that operates. All right, so now, here we go. All right, we're going to come back. So have a seat again. All right. Now, let me show you all some stuff, and then we're going to have another conversation. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so, y'all, I'm gonna talk for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to have a conversation, all right? So, y'all, remember that affirmative action now, what we're going to start talking about is rectifying. Rectifying. You understand rectifying? Somehow we have to manage the fact when there is when you have long-standing inequity, unfairness, long-standing unfairness, you can just continue on with the unfairness. But if you want to try to have the society that probably most people would like to have, then you want to try to soften the edges, right? You want to try to like figure out a way to just make it a little better for everybody, okay? So now, when I look at this median household net worth, this is from 2016, and you look at these numbers here, it's like, this is serious. The median household net worth, even though it's 2016, so this is you add up, a household adds up all of their wealth and their goods, and they subtract all their debt, and this is what's left over, okay? Median household. That means half, if you take like white households, that means half of all white households have 171,000 or more in net worth, and half have less. And this isn't just in 2016. This is the accumulation of legacies of generations. So it's not just like my family or your family or your family. It's your parents and your grandparents and their parents and their parents and aunts and uncles and all this extended family. This is like a household is the accumulation of legacies of family members. So when we see these distinct differences here, you got to stop and say like, yo, what is happening here? And the reason, by the way, Asian households, Asian American households don't have higher net worth. When Asian Americans have higher salaries, Asian Americans don't have enough time in the United States to build up the net worth. And so therefore it's not higher, even though Asian salaries are higher. Bro, were you going to ask that?
I was going to ask.
Wait, hang on.
When you pulled up like average income and net worth of all groups, I thought Asian ranked number one for both.
Asian ranks, no, not on net worth. No,
Not on net
because
worth?
white people have, they just have a legacy of time. Asians don't have that. Yeah. Because Asians are, look, you have Asians, you have like the Asian population that's really well off, and then you have the Asian population that's not well off at all. Okay? And has not accumulated net worth and don't have the time. All right, so listen, man. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, here, let me just show you this. So now understand that we're talking about legacies. So this is affirmative action, right? Remember, taking action, some kind of direct action to rectify all of the history and legacies of inequity and inequality, okay? Because remember the story here with us on the stairs. It's like we're going to tell her, like, listen, you're not equal with him, so now what you got to do is like we've removed the barriers from you. You're now competing. You're expected to compete with him on an equal playing field. But like, wait, hang on a second. Like, how am I going to compete with him on an equal playing field? Like, it's not equal. It's not equal because of the historical legacy. So let's look at this. Household wealth, right? So we look at total household wealth here, okay? And everything we add up, and we have 1983. We look at 2013. This is whites. Look at blacks and household wealth. This is not median. This is mean. It's not median, so it's much higher. Look at blacks. And then we think like, okay, well, but we're going to take the barriers away, continue to take them away. We're going to have more black people into Penn State, more black people opportunities. We're going to have, hiring programs for black people. We're going to do all these things for black people, right? So, Samel, so your people, man, we're going to do all these things for your people. But you're Ethiopian Eritrean, right? Okay, but you're still under the black category. Go to the next slide. But if we look at, this is 2013. This is the same one. Go back one. This is this one right here, because look at the numbers. It's over 600. Okay, go forward. So here's this one. And then if we go forward, this is where white people will be. And then we look at black people like, no, you're not catching up. You're not going to catch up because you don't have what you need to catch up. You can't catch up because you got to do something. You either got to take this guy up here. Bro, what's your name? Jim? Liam. You either got to take Liam, who was up here. Remember Liam up here? We either got to send Liam down there or, wait, man. What's your name? What is it? Angie. Or we got to move Angie up here. But if you don't do that, it's just going to be endless inequality because Angie's going to move up, but Liam's going to move up. And so at what point in time, it's like, where's the fairness? Like, where's the fairness at, right? So you see that. Like, how? It's okay, so I don't know. You know what I mean? But if we take Liam and say we're going to move you down, Liam's going to be like, oh, that's not fair. Like, you know, that's not fair. And well, I don't know. Like, is it not? I don't know. You all are going to decide that. Okay, go to the next slide. So here we see the importance of it. Remember this? When Will was here, I talked about this. Like, look at this. Family income, it shapes how you do on the SATs, man. It's like, come on. So we know this stuff matters in that way. Okay, cool? You see, like, this is historical legacies. Dude, you get it, right? Man. You know what? I think one of the things I despise most about education is that it's almost impossible for people to come into a classroom like this where we're talking about what are, it's not that I think it is, what are really thoughtful and fascinating issues. But it's like the curiosity and the interest in expanding intellectually has just been beaten out of people. And sometimes, man, it takes almost the will of a 1,000 horses, man. The strength of 1,000 horses to drag me into this classroom and talk about what I think are such valuable ideas to so many people who have lost the capacity to be fascinated by thinking. But I do it. All right, go to the next slide. I want to show you something. Now, if you're Americans, I don't know how, those of you, I hope you, I don't care if you vote or not next week, but if you do vote next week, and if you think about the issues, I'm going to show you 2 slides, okay? And I want to show you a couple things. And if you're Americans, I want you to really think about what we've come to and what's happening that you certainly don't know about. So, from 1983 to 2010, this country grew the economy in just extraordinary ways, okay? We generated and created so much wealth. And of that wealth, it's going to go somewhere. Like, who's going to get the wealth? So 1983 to 2010, who's going to get that? Okay? Where is it going to go? What kind of society do you live in? Where do you want to see that go? Okay? The trillions of dollars, where does it go? Okay? So the created wealth, the bottom fifth of the United States lost 2.6% of their wealth. The second fifth lost 1.3% of the wealth. All the new wealth that was created. This is the tech boom. This is like, holy shit. The economy just exploded in the post-industrial revolution time. Okay? The median fifth, the middle fifth, lost 1.5%, meaning that the poorest 60% of Americans lost wealth in that time. Okay? So all the trillions of dollars that was generated in those years, they lost money. The next fourth, okay, the people that would rank between like 61 and 80th in there, they were able to gather 4.3% of the wealth. Dude, you following this, right? The 80 to 90th, 10.9%. The 90 to 95th, 16. The richest 5% took 3/4 of all that wealth. That means the richest 5% of Americans figured out how to grow an economy, trillions and trillions of dollars, grow an economy unlike any economy has ever grown in human history. And the richest 5% took 75% of all of that growth. Okay? And the top 1% took 38% of it. So by the way, if anybody wonders how it is that we got to a place where Donald Trump became president of the United States, look no further than this. Because you got a whole bunch of Americans who completely got left out. And I don't blame Americans for voting anybody into power. People are just pissed. Who are you going to vote for? Who are they going to vote for? Hillary Clinton? You just vote for anybody but the people that did this. And you may not know what happened because you don't. Because you're lost and you think it's the Democrats or you think it's the Republicans. It has nothing to do with that. Go to the next slide. So here, in the Bush years, the wealthiest 1% of Americans received 65% of the income gains. 65. So go back one. So here, in these years, 83 to 2010, the wealthiest 1% got 38%. Go forward. Now, in the Bush years, 65%. So Barack Obama, the socialist, remember Barack Obama, the communist socialist guy, the black guy, who does nothing but want to give all of the money away to poor people, right? Isn't this it? Isn't that what Fox News says? This guy, he's like the socialist, he's giving it all away. So he comes in, he completely revises the policies, and he says, okay, we're going to really help poor people, we're going to help black people, and we're going to like really screw over white people and rich people. Because that's, you know, because I watch Fox News, and that's what they said about Barack Obama, so it must be true. Because it's truth and it's accurate. And so the wealthiest 1% received how much of the income gains in the first 5 years of what do you think it is, bro?
Out of those answer choices?
What's that? What do you think?
Out of those choices?
Yeah, those choices.
Probably
78%? 78%? What is it?
Same.
Same? Dude, come on, man. It's 95%. So here, you ready? All of you so-called conservatives or Fox News watchers or whatever that hate Obama because he's a socialist, 95% of all the income gains went to the richest 1%. So you wonder why we have Donald Trump? You wonder why people are just going to vote for anybody who just says, fuck you? Even though he's from that? Doesn't matter. This is it, right? This is it. And so now you got, not only is Angie down here being told that, hey, Angie, you can compete. But Liam not only was here, the dude wasn't here anymore. He's like out the door. He's out in front of Thomas Building. That's where he got to. And it's like, we're telling Angie, like, hey, go ahead, Angie, catch up. It's like, where's he going to catch up to? The hell? Okay, go to the next slide. So, in the past year, last year, the richest 1% of Americans gained $6.5 trillion in wealth. Dude, the bottom 60% don't even own stock. It's like they don't do nothing. So here we go, right? So, by the way, get ready for Donald Trump part 2. Go to the next one. So, the four richest Americans. This is a really hard one, but here's Warren Buffett, right? His true tax rate, 0.10%. Dude, 0.10%. Look at Bezos, 0.98%. You're paying taxes. You're not paying taxes like you. Not you. It's different. You, whoever. Like, they're getting around this stuff, man. So here we go, right? So what are we going to do? All right? Go look at Musk. Musk actually paid a lot of taxes, 3.27% in the years 2014 to 2018. Go to the next slide. Okay, ready? So here's my question to you all. At what point will our current system, socioeconomic system, offer reasonably fair opportunities to a reasonably large majority of people? So here, I want to explain this, right? So the Supreme Court is going to strike down affirmative action, like at the universities for sure, and they're just going to strip it away from any workplaces. Because we're going to tell people like Angie down here to say like, yeah, well, it's not fair. It's not fair to offer you anything at all, these special programs and special things because you're a woman or because you're black or because you're Hispanic or whatever, because it's not fair to people up there, okay? So I want you to think about everything I just laid out, and I want to ask you, at what point is our current socioeconomic system going to offer, as it is, going to offer reasonably fair opportunities? Go ahead, man.
I mean, I feel like it's going to be like on and off like that forever. It feels like is there ever going to be a time where it's like everything is perfectly equal for everybody, you know, like, because it's probably not going to happen if I'm going to be honest. Like, at least when I'm alive, like, in my opinion.
So, okay, so you're saying, so here's a rhetorical question. Like, at what point is it ever going to be like that? Like, yeah, okay. Right? Like what?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, at what point?
No point. I don't think it's going to be reasonably fair at any point because, like you said, it's always going to be, it's unfair for the people at the top and it's unfair for the people at the bottom to get more and to give less, and it's never going to be fair because they're never going to want to bring the people who are all the way up back down, and they're not going to want to push the people.
You're good.
They're not going to want to push the people that are down. Okay.
Here, give her another one.
Again, sorry. They're not going to want to push the people that are down up, because then everybody's complaining now. Everybody's going to be like, well, it's unfair, it's reasonably unfair. Everybody wants more. Nobody wants less.
So, hey, when Donald Trump gets elected in 2 years, you're going to understand why, right? I mean, are you going to you're going to get it, right? Are you going to understand? Hey, so what would you say to this?
I mean, in a sense, I can understand like how, or not that I personally would have liked that, but, or not that I would have personally liked that, but I can see like how or why he can get like potentially re-elected, if that's what you mean. And then,
Well, why would he get reelected here?
I think maybe this is just like my personal opinion, especially since since I had like a little bit of backstory. Since I had like parents who own a small like restaurant, like for people that owns like businesses, it gives them a lot of benefits, especially towards like taxes. Like, because during the time when Trump was president, obviously, when Trump was president, during that time, like people that own businesses, whether if it's clothing store, small restaurants or whatever, including like my parents, it helped them like a lot more financially to like make a living, and so it wasn't like a very big tax burden on them. So it helped them like easier to like manage business, especially like, yeah.
Okay, all right, but you get how people are just pissed.
But yeah, I
Dude,
get it.
Can you go back? Can you go back a slide? So you understand? Can you like this right here?
Yeah.
So I actually could have you read this on. It'd probably be good for you to read on the third exam, to read the article. This comes from ProPublica, and but it takes a lot to really understand. All people know is they're really angry.
Yeah.
And so they're just going to vote because they're angry. It doesn't really matter, right? And so that's it. Like, all right, I get it, but they don't know. So, but okay, go forward. Go to this. Can you go to the next question? So how do you design a system that has the greatest amount of fairness for the greatest number of people? So, Samel, what would you say? How do you design that? Because we've walked into this thing here. The Supreme Court's going to decide, hey, you can't, it's not fair to help Angie out. All right, so what do you do then? Right? If you've got the wealthy people who are just taking all of this money, and it's just designed for people, the wealthiest, to just earn so much money. They all think they deserve it because they take the risk. It's like your parents take the risk of having a store. It's like that's a lot of risk. This is not a risk. I work at Penn State. I have to come to class every day. I got to do my thing, whatever. There's no risk. I'm not going to lose money. I'm not going to lose my livelihood. If the economy takes a downturn, whatever, I'll just go get another job. I'll work at Walmart. I'll be a greeter. I can do that pretty well. Or they don't have greeters anymore, but I'll do something, right? But they take a risk. So, okay, but go to this one. How do you design it? By the way, y'all should be thinking about this question that's impossible to answer, but this is the one that is on the table. And if we hadn't gotten the creativity sucked out of us starting in kindergarten, when the teachers were ringing bells and sucking our souls, we really would want to sit around and think about these things. Go ahead.
I guess that instead of trying to bring down, like, I'll say rich people, bring down rich people, and instead of bringing down rich people, I think like what she was saying, like the unbalance of, oh, if you pay more attention to trying to like uplift the lower income people.
Well, that's what we're doing all the time, right? But then people with money and power
Will
get pissed at that.
Get mad, exactly. So I feel like in order for it to become fair, you would have to do that, but then keep at like an equal balance. Like,
Okay, all right, some kind of equal balance, right? Okay, so you got to give a little bit more to people at the bottom, but then I guess we got to keep giving the people at the top more tax breaks, right? Okay, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, somebody else.
Or did you guys want to answer? No.
Do you have anything?
I've always asked myself this question, and I don't think
Alright.
there's an answer to it,
Okay.
or at least I haven't figured it out. But what are we going to give the people at the top? They already have it all.
Well, they don't have it all. They don't have
Kind
it all. They just have figured out how to design a system where they have as much as they can possibly get without people at the bottom having a major revolution, which is like, by the way, the people that stormed the Capitol building on January 6th, I don't even know, they don't even know what the hell they're pissed at. They're just pissed. They don't have any idea. They have nothing. They're just pissed. And they've been told to be pissed, so they're just pawns in a war of people being pissed. But it's like they don't have it all. They just have as much as they can get before the people down there start revolting. And the people down there have a lot of guns, so you got to like keep them, in a kind of their place as much as possible. But yeah,
Can I talk?
yeah.
Okay. First off, I want to say like it's really hard to like know like what to design socioeconomic system that would be fair for everyone, because everyone's always going to have their own self-interest. So no matter what you design, there's always going to be some form of complaint. But if I were to answer, obviously it's not going to be a perfect answer. I want to say like instead of designing a socioeconomic system, I think it would be best to like work on like other form of systems that contributed to the unfairness, like the education system, like for example, like the SAT and the ACT. There's ACT, but there's one for the graduate
Yeah.
school, like after you get the GRE,
lots
yeah.
of them,
GRE, because they both like could more benefit towards like families with higher income, so it gives them more advantage versus those who don't have a higher income, because there's so much
Okay.
money into.
All right, so then what do you do? Like we see that graph there
Yeah.
about SATs. So then do you give people who have family incomes who are lower, do you give them a number of points? We're just going to add some points to your score?
I would say, for example, like during COVID, when they took down the SAT like as an
Yeah.
option,
Yeah.
I saw this in an article for UCLA. They had the highest amount of like applicants that was submitted to their school, like since. Yeah, it had like the highest amount of applicants. So that even though like obviously it increases the amount of competition, but it shows that like it like brought down the barrier, so that way everyone, like regardless of like their economic status, could
Yeah.
have the chance to apply without the financial burden.
Yeah, okay, I got that. But then how do you decide who the smartest people are? Like in this classroom? Here, can I like throw this out to you? Like in this classroom, you just got to jump through hoops. You got to do the work. If you do the work, then you get a grade. And most of you end up getting A's because most of you end up doing the work. But there are some people in this classroom, I wouldn't trust you to wash my fucking beer glass. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, I have no idea, but I don't know who they are. And so if I just say like, okay, well, y'all just go wash my beer glass, I don't know who to trust. To do that, let alone to design a security system to keep the Russians and the Chinese and whoever else out of cyberspace here at Penn State, which is actually pretty serious, and like from controlling our nuclear weapons. So like shit, I don't know. You know what I mean? Yes.
I was going to add that start with putting more funding towards schools in low-income areas, so
Okay.
therefore they're able to have the same opportunities. And then when they get into university, it's about
Yeah.
who really knows stuff instead of who had the advantage of
Okay.
better education compared to
All right,
others.
I got that.
Agreed.
And we do that, and a lot of people up there then get pissed. Because, like, what are we spending all the money there for? Hey, wait, hang on, y'all. We have 1 minute, and Derek has the final comment.
So yeah, I mean, as like I feel like it's just like you keep saying the fact that they're going to be angry up there, or they're going to be angry down there. Like it's just a continuous cycle of just anger.
Yeah.
So like
It
creating
is.
creating like a socioeconomic system is just going to be very difficult. Not saying it's impossible,
Yeah,
but
yeah. It's
it would just cause stuff like that.
all right, y'all. Listen, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Hey, thanks everybody. Yo, 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 yo. Give him a hand. Hey, 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 hey. Yo, thanks, man.